What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Tarmac Obsession. Now, I know that I have not posted in a very, very long time, purely for the fact that I've had nothing to post about. The Z is still down at the panel shop, so April 1st this year marked 12 months since I dropped it down there. It is progressing. I'll pop a picture, you can have a look. It is progressing, but still nowhere near ready. Obviously with the current situation, with the economy, everything's gone flat, so he's got plenty of spare time to actually get the job done, so he's assured me he should be done within the next few weeks. What I'm going to do today is, I've never shown this car on the channel, so this is my KE25 Corolla. I've had this for about 6 or 8 months, so lovely little car, 73 model, but super smoky and super oil leaky, and I managed to find a real good, actually fully remanufactured 4K for it, which is there, which I'm going to chuck that in there today, and yeah, hopefully we can start using this one a little bit more. I know it's not a 4AGE or a 20 valve or anything like that, but you know, it's going to be fun to drive, so yeah, stay tuned. So just before I do get started on the KE25, so I did get a few little bits in for the Z, so I got fiberglass front and rear bumpers and front spoiler, rear spoiler. Also got a few, well, I've got the motor, you can see on my Instagram page, the motor's under restoration at the moment, almost we've finished back together. I'm just doing the sump, just tidying the sump up. I've got to do the tail lights. These tail light panels are pretty good, but we've got a couple little cracks up here which I've got to fix. So I've got to remake these things, and this one at this end as well. But yeah, few little jobs to do, that's on that sort of stuff before the Z comes back. But I don't want to have everything sort of complete and ready to go. But yeah. So as I mentioned, this is my KE25, so I've owned this, like I said, about 6 months, and it's a great little car. I super love the shape of the car. I love the longer body on the KE25 versus the KE20. I'll pop a picture up and show you what it looked like when I first got the car. Did have a smack in the front, but one of my mates actually repaired that all for us. We've got a new front ballast and a new front guard. We put all that back together. So I thought, well, while it was apart, I put the flares on and put the spoilers on, painted all the front black and the back, all the bumpers black, put on the fender mirrors. I thought, well, while I'm going, I might as well do the inside. So it did have a brown interior, which is over there. So this was the original colour interior. Yeah, it had seat covers on, it was pretty ratty inside, so I whipped it all apart and did the interior in black. New carpets and new dash crash pads, and yeah, so just looks a lot nicer in here, a little bit more fun to drive, a little bit nicer when you're out and about. And the boys down at down the trim shop did the seats for me, the front and rear seats all retrimmed, so they come up real nice. And I did the door cards, just painted the door cards black. So yeah, it's a great little car, a good little fun car to drive, but it has been pretty hard to use because it does blow tons and tons and tons of smoke. So I have been a bit reluctant to take it anywhere. So now get the new 4K in, the big block, and should be able to use it a little bit more. So let's get started. So first thing we're going to do is jack it up in the air, drain fluids, get the bonnet off, and then we can start getting the motor out. So let's get it happening. Alright, so the bonnet is off. Basically what I'm going to do now is just go around the motor and start disconnecting stuff. Two things I want to make sure I've done before I get to the bottom is get to top dead center on number one so I can put the distributor straight back into the new block. I'm going to do the drain the fluid on the radiator because I've got a aluminium radiator to go back in it. So probably the hardest thing I'm going to have to get to is that exhaust because I'm damn sure that's going to be melted on. But yeah, I'll just undo the hoses, undo all the lines, everything I do. I'm not going to take the box out, I'm going to leave the box in and do it in place because you can see I've got tons of room at the back of the motor there. So getting in behind it won't be a problem for us. Yeah, so pretty much start disconnecting, pulling things apart, and yeah, here comes some more time lapse. Alright, so I've been at it for about an hour now, and I've disconnected everything. The exhaust came off a lot easier than I thought it would. This car's got a 5-speed transmission, and they came factory with a 4-speed, so mating up the 5-speed to the back of the 3K block, I think there must be slightly different block than the 4K, because there was a heap of bolts missing. It looks a little different on this side, like just down in there, it does look a little different. I guess it should go back together okay, but yeah, there was a couple of bolts missing down the bottom, but yeah, everything seems to be in there pretty good. All I've got left to do is do the nuts off the engine mounts. So the bottom nut there and the bottom nut on that side, and I'll get the crane in and get him off. So there it is, out and about. We've got a little bit of oil issues in here. Obviously with the leaking, it's pretty dirty around the motor. That's pretty shocking. So I'm just gonna drop it back down to its wheels, run it outside, hit the degreaser with it, get the heavy duty wash in it, and clean it out as best I can, make it as tidy as possible in there. And then after something to eat, come back and throw the 4K in. Not bad. Looking forward to it. So that's a washed and dam site cleaner. So I'll leave it out in the sun just to dry off a bit. Yeah, sort of see it there, a lot better than it was. No more gunk and shit. So next thing we're going to do is get the clutch and the flywheel off the back of this, because this was an automatic. The 4K I've got was an auto, so I've got to get that off and put in a spigot bearing into the flywheel, into the crank of the 4K, and then reinstall all that. So let's get to work on that. So just off camera, I pulled off the engine mount and fuel pump off that side and took the Dizzy out. Dizzy's over there, so it's going to go back into the other motor. So on this side now, I've got to use, so this exhaust manifold and inlet manifold that's on the 3K doesn't have exhaust gas recirculation, which the other one does. The other one's just over here. It has all the EGR emission stuff. So I don't really want to use that. So I'm going to use this manifold and yeah, this manifold set. So I'm just going to whip them off this motor now and throw them onto the 4K. Alright guys, so off camera, because it's pretty boring sort of work, I installed engine mounts, the Dizzy, put the manifolds on, mount for the alternator, this manifold, this mount on this side, everything's sort of set on, ready to go now. So what I'm going to do is grab it off the engine stand, get it on the crane again, refit the flywheel, refit the clutch, and then I reckon, let's chuck it back in. I reckon she's ready to go back in the KE25. So I'll just get a time lapse set up for you and we'll start putting that back together. So I've got the 6 bolts in for the flywheel and I've got to set the torque to 48 foot-pounds. I'll double check that. But holding the flywheel can be a bit of a bugger sometimes, so the little trick is just to get an Allen key, as big as you can get, into one of the holes for your starter, and that just locks the flywheel from moving, so I'll be able to get the proper torque setting on it. So I'm just going to torque them up, and then I'll get the clutch on. So So the bay's all clean, and I've got the gearbox set up on an axle stand. Motor's up on the hoist. I've got it out ready to go. So let's get it back in. Let's do it. And that is how, in 6.5 minutes, you can manhandle a 4K back into the engine bay. So what I'm going to get to now is putting all the bolts back in for the bell housing, getting the 2 nuts and washers and everything for the engine mounts, and pretty much buttoning everything up and getting it all back together. So I'm going to, well, I'm not going to bother filming this bit because it's going to be pretty damn boring, but I'll show you what it looks like. So it should take, I think it's about 1:30 now. It's going to work through till about 3, give it a rest for the weekend, but yeah, this is where she's up to now. I'll get those tightened up and I'll probably call it a day. Well, welcome back, guys. So Easter long weekend, I didn't do much work on the car. So it's pretty much where I left it last time. Today we're going to get it all buttoned up and put back together and get it started. So probably the first thing I'm going to do, the housing for the thermostat there for the 4K is different to the 3K. There's a different outlet that comes back on this side for the heater hoses, so I've got to fix that up. Add that on. I've got to put in the starter motor and the alternator. A couple of little, like the oil pressure sender, temperature sender for the radiator in. There shouldn't be too much to do, but yeah, should be able to knock it off for a couple of hours, I reckon. Alright, so there was a few little time lapses for you. So alternator's in, starter motor's in, everything's all buttoned up, tightened up, moved on, changed the housing over here so it's all correct. Fuel pump's in, dizzy's in, yeah, everything's done. Pretty much everything's connected. Yeah, next thing I'm going to do is modify this air filter housing. So I'm going to cut this around and open up 3 spots around the outside, give it a paint and put that back in just to get a little bit more noise. Give that a repaint the shroud for the radiator fan. So yeah. Should have this done within the next hour, I reckon. So a few more time lapses, here we go. Well, it is day 3 now for the KE25 engine swap. I think I've had about 7 hours in total into it. So not too bad, pretty happy. I'm going to give it a start today. I did try and get some power to it the other day, but the battery was flat and my jumper pack was flat, so no good. So I'm going to whack some power on it and try and give it a crank over. Oh, I did this last night after filming as well. So got that all cut and painted and ready to rock and roll and go back on. So that was painted today. I just did it in my lunch break. So that's ready to throw back on too. I think it came up pretty good and it's going to look nice and neat under there. So we'll do the radiator first, throw the air filter on and try and give it a crank over. So let's do it. Where we got to yesterday was trying to give it a crank. Battery was flat and then the jumper pack was flat. So that was enough for that day. So charge the battery up overnight so it's ready to rock and roll. I've got a spare jumper pack just in case we need it. Got to make sure I've got top dead center set for number 1 because I might have it on 180-degree rotation, which would be exhaust side, not inlet side. So I have to make sure that's all correct. Make sure the dizzy's all in correctly set. Fill it up with some coolant. I've got a fan belt today from Auto 1, so new fan belt, bang that on. So I'll be back down the Auto 1 first thing in the morning because she's a bit too long. I don't know how they managed to make a mistake of that one.
Yeah, that's way too long. So swap that over. But I guess what I'll do now is I can check top dead center, make sure the dizzy's in the right spot, fit the air filter, and let's see if we can get it cranked over, eh? Let's see if we can get it started. Let's give it a try.
Yeah, that's
So as I've been doing this and just checking this top dead center, use a bit of focus, I noticed that the pulley has two marks. So there's a mark at the front, which is right down there, if the camera does focus, and there's a mark at the back, which I've been setting the back mark, not the front mark. So I'm going to set it to the front mark, and hopefully that makes a difference.
Well, that sounds better.
That sounds better. Hey, hey! Hey, look at that! Beautiful! I got no coolant in, so I won't run it for too long, but there we go. I might be one tooth out, maybe. Oh, no, maybe not. Beautiful! Success! Well, I really didn't get too much accomplished tonight. Getting it started was a pretty good accomplishment, so I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to have tomorrow off, which is Wednesday, and I'll get back out of here again on Thursday night and get the... What am I going to do on Thursday night? I'm going to get the proper belt and get the belt on properly, finish that air filter off so that's all done, remount the battery, fill it with coolant and test drives. Hey! Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. But yeah, we'll see you Thursday. So just stay put. Thursday. And we are back. Day 4 on the engine swap for the KE25. Honestly, there's pretty much nothing left to do. I've got the radiator shroud to refit, which I gave a little coat of paint to today. I've got to do the plug gap, the timing, and there's a spring that holds the clutch lever back, which I've got to reinstall. So I'm going to quickly knock that off on the head. Oh, and I got the little bung for the little nipple that was on the water pump, which for some reason are different on the KE, different on the 3K and the 4K. So I've got a little nipple a little plug to cover that nipple. So I'm going to quickly knock all that off. I'll give you a quick run around and show you where we are and where we finished. Knock the bonnet back on, and it's got a flat tyre, so something else to fix is always a good thing to do. So yeah, quickly knock that off, show you what I've done, and move on. See you soon. So that is it, guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it and I hope you've found something interesting about the videos. The Z I went and had a bit of a look at today, so it is getting pretty close to blocking it, and they're going to start repriming it and get the paint on it. So hopefully the next video, well, the next video I upload will be of the Z, so that'll be pretty much me just picking it up, bringing it back home and getting it stacked in the corner. As for the KE25, I'm just going to drive it and enjoy it. I love this little car. It's a pretty cool little car. It's original paint and everything like that, which is the best part about it for me. 47 years old, 47 years old, so it's pretty good. Older than me. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram, Tarmac Obsession. Yeah, hope you enjoyed, guys, and we'll see you next time.